hope everybody had an enjoyable lunch. It looks like I recognize most of the faces. I think not everybody was here or has introduced themselves to me. But I'm Andrew, I'm the math coordinator, and this is Usha, the curriculum person.
Yeah.
And we're going to just start off this afternoon just doing another icebreaker. I think it's important that we start to build more of a community, because I think the best thing, one of the best things we can take from this whole experience is being able to work with the other math teachers as well. And so we're going to do that with these PD sessions, but also with online communications as well as my visits to your schools. So I'd actually like you to pair up. If we have an odd number, we can do a triple if that's needed. It looks like we do have an odd, or I can jump in. And I'd just like you to share a memorable teaching experience. Introduce yourself. Maybe talk about your school. Mention your teaching background if you like. And then I'd like you to focus on a memorable teaching experience where you were able to reach a student that was otherwise resistant to perhaps something you were trying to teach. And I know that we have some people with, I know somebody yesterday said that this is their first year teaching. It doesn't have to be in front of the classroom teaching. It could be outside of the classroom as well. But something where you were able to reach somebody who was previously resistant. Okay. So we'll take a couple minutes, introduce yourself to your neighbor, and we can share that, and then maybe we'll also share it.
Okay, I'm Dorothy, teaching in the Bronx. Memorable teaching experience. When he was talking about giving that prompt, only when the student came, the first student came to my mind was Ben. Actually, he was in my class, but he's Rover, and a problem child, way busy, those kids who didn't graduate on time. He has an idea. His math is too challenging subject. He couldn't graduate. He's turning 21 in the year. 21. And this is the driving force for him to really do what he did. But he was with me for a year. The first semester, I wasn't really that successful because he's still when he's coming to class. But there was one time that I know I can talk to him, and I did. And just talking to him and knowing him, I asked why, and knowing him, and we worked together, and he started coming back. That is when you feel that even with his kid can make a difference. By continuously encouraging him, talking to him, and I only came to his graduation just to listen. I couldn't find him. He saw me. I'm just 75. That was a deal.
Anybody else?
I wouldn't say a moment. I would say it's a series of moments. I was teaching history class to a group of juniors and seniors, and I had a student. Just come to the class. And so the class was giving me a hard time because I was not new to the part of the school. I talked to her, and she didn't have anything to say. So what I was saying to myself is that maybe it's the way I'm fortunate. So I tried to get the students to go to the board, and I tried to wait for them and say, "Oh, won't you go to the bathroom and come back?" And She done that. She came back, but still no interest. And after a while, and I was showing her that I cared. Find out that she had a grandmother who was in the hospital. So I don't know if that was the reason she was sleeping all the time. So what I did is I started to talk to her about her grandmother more often. And she told me she's fine. I said, did you go yesterday? She said, yeah, I went. And I said, you must be tired by staying over there a while. She said, yeah. And then she started not to sleep anymore. And then after a while, she started to get into work. And then when she was unable to do the work, she used to email me. And then I used to respond and say, okay, come early and then I'll explain it to you. And then to make a long story short, she came in at the end and she wrote me an email and she said that she really appreciated the fact that I didn't give up on her. And she wasn't the best student, but she kind of got into it late, but she did learn a few things, and she thanked me very much for not giving up on her. And with that, she was able to learn at least a few things instead of nothing at all. So.
Communication.
Yeah. To me now, my name is WorkShop. I've been teaching for 15 years in the Bronx, the same school. Yeah.
One of the moments
that I can share with you is I had one student who was transferred into our school, and the first time I met him, he said, "Sir, I hate math." Then I probed into that and I said, "Sir, I know I'm not going to pass math in my life." And I asked why. You know what? My old school, I've been taking this reading 6 times and I failed it. So that I've drawn a conclusion that math is not for me. And so I sat down and said, well, you don't know. All that you have to do is to keep trying. Change your attitude. Come to class all the time. And I guarantee you, you're not going to do the same. This girl listened to me, came to class all the time, asked questions, and lo and behold, when the readings came in, she had 70. And that was the only thing that she needed to graduate. So, and you can imagine in the graduating day how she felt. So, what I'm trying to say is, let us encourage them. Don't get angry with them. Yeah, tell them that you are there for them. Each and every one of them need your support. And you never know what you're going to, the impact that you're making in their lives.
So, good. Sam?
Alright, my name is Sam. I teach at junior preparatory high school in the Bronx. One impactful moment that I had as a student was I was teaching a lesson to a self-contained class. I had a lot of behavior issues, and this one student in particular, I knew he was capable. We were doing a hard task.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm gonna interrupt, but I want to make sure we hit everything. You can finish the story later, maybe, but hopefully we're, making some friends, making some connections. Were there any recurring themes that came up between maybe you and your partner? Or I know this table decided to,
do a holistic.
What was?
So one thing that was,
Can you hear over there? No, they can't quite hear.
So we do computers.
Yeah, just project a
we
little.
have noise in the background.
I know, it's tough.
So one thing that I kept hearing from my group is that relationship, right, that they form personally with their students that allowed them to have some impact, right, on their students. So I think the whole thing is about forming that relation with them, making them comfortable enough to listen to you, want to do something that you're asking them to do, and try and do something. So that's what I got from my peers, that relationship.
Yeah, no, I think that's huge. We're dealing with people, so yes, we're math teachers, but you do want to make that connection.
Can we ask people to go ahead and just introduce yourself also as you're sharing? Because I know we have a few people that weren't here yesterday, and I'm not sure we went home all knowing everybody's name.
Right, yeah, we don't have name tags today either, so we'll try to do that. We'll get to know each other a little bit more too. But
So Isabella?
point.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm Isabella. I teach in one of the schools in Watch High School. I've been teaching for about 10 years, and I teach math.
Great. Excellent. So does anybody else want to add anything? Yeah, sure.
Well, I wanted to, by the way, my name is Leo. I teach in Brooklyn. And what I wanted to add is that the communication that you have with the student is crucial, very important, the way you communicate with each other. Because through communication, the kids not only could learn from you, could also see that you have an interest in them, so they can themselves in return put an interest in you, in what you're saying, what you're teaching. Because if they have no interest in you at all, no matter what you teach, how you teach it, they're not going to learn anything. So by communicating well, to show that you're interested in them, in their future, their well-being, and people that they know, people that they care about, so they feel like you care about them. So by putting that interest in them, they put a little interest in you. That's all you need then to pass it on to them.
Absolutely. Great. Anybody else want to share? Again, that was a recurring theme that I did hear, communication and this holistic approach. And so that's what we're going to try to foster for not just this community here, but to bring back to your classrooms as well. Okay, we're just going to take it from here.
Okay, so kind of just to piggyback on that, I was eavesdropping over here, and something that gets shared is what it can feel like to experience a success with a kid who's always been struggling, right? So the example brought up, if you don't mind, was, this kid's name, if you put it in front of the principal or anybody who knew him, they were like, oh no, we don't want to talk about him yet. I hope there's not another disaster. But for him to then have a success with that student, right? And again, when we think about our population of who we're trying to help succeed here, right? There's interesting questions about who this population is. Some questions about why do I have to be in it, or why can't I be in it? Right? We're talking about this group that's on this border, right? They're kind of on this border, and how do we help them succeed, right? So that becomes really important. Okay, so today, what we're going to be focusing on is, again, a little bit more with that proportional reasoning. And we're going to start off with kind of a challenging problem that's at the beginning of your materials. And by the way, who was not here yesterday? Two people right here, right? So
Did you get materials? No.
Yeah. So, okay. Then we're gonna take another. So we're gonna focus on that problem first. Then we're gonna focus on. We looked at those evaluations, and we're gonna take a look at a couple of proportional reasoning problems coming from the sample compass problems that are public. Okay, so we'll take a look at some of those so that we can kind of see this is what a student might face. We'll also definitely be planning, your feedback is helpful. These are ongoing PDs, so the feedback that you give us are things that we can work on incorporating in October. October 14th is our next plan, right? So we're definitely listening to those. Then we're going to talk a little bit about, we're going to look at some assessment problems. So one that's kind of a formative assessment that could be used at different points in the PR unit. And then we're going to also look at something that might be a little more of a traditional assessment that could be your option to use. Okay? So, and then, we have about 1 hour and 40 minutes. So some things around planning and pacing. We'll work on making sure we kind of save a few minutes at the end to just talk about some guidelines for that. Okay. Okay, so if you have your notebooks, you can actually open to the first page on this. And we're going to look at the problem that's there, but I would actually ask you to not go further than that first page. Just let it stand at that, okay?
Does anybody not have their notebook with them today? Because we can loan you one, but you would have to return it back.
I can share.
Okay.
And we're going to put the problem up there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so this is an example of a kind of challenging problem. It's interesting. Carpooling. Are New York City kids carpoolers? No, they're not. Right? So this is a problem that we're taking from the Mars materials. So how many of you are familiar with Mars materials? Okay. How do you like them? Do you find them useful? So for those that are not, if you Google Mars, M-A-R-S, and mathematics lessons, you'll get to that site. And there's a lot of different material to use, K through 12. Okay. Pardon?
Mathshell.org.
Shell, yep.
Mathshell.org. Thank you.
Shell
Thank you.
Center.
Okay. So when we're trying to help kids with problem solving, what are some of the strategies that we want them to potentially be developing? We'll kind of come back to this. This is something, we're not ordering a set, but here is the kind of famous Polya set, right? The focus on, do you really understand the problem? We know that many of you are working with students where one of their struggles is reading the problem. So we have to decide for the problem, okay, am I going to focus on the language issue right now, or am I going to read and intone the sentences so that they get to hear it and they get to work on the real mathematics of the problem? We probably have to balance some time about how we handle problem solving between those two issues, right? If a problem is complex, how might we simplify it? Okay, in a problem like this, that could be an interesting question to think about. If you've got an idea, how might you move forward on it, carry it out, and how do you check results? Okay. Okay, so here's the problem. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read this, and you can kind of read along. But each day, Lara's mom drives her to school. On the way, she picks up 3 of Lara's friends, Chan, Jason, and Maria. Each afternoon, she returns by the same route and drops them off at their homes. This map is drawn to scale. It shows where each person lives and the route taken by Lara's mom. At the end of a term, the 4 students agree to pay $300 in total towards the cost of the gasoline. How much should each person pay? What would be the fairest possible method? Okay, so do we get a sense of the problem? Who can kind of just share with us for a minute what's the gist of this problem and what we're trying to figure out? Somebody? Yeah, please. I'm sorry, can you repeat your name also as you...
Sure. My name is Andrea.
So I actually did this with some of my students. So the idea in this problem is that they're all traveling in the same car to the same location, but the students are not in the car for the same number of miles or blocks of the whole route.
Right. Okay. You want to add anything? Okay. Okay. So go ahead and take a second. I'm going to ask you to start off by about 5 minutes working independently. Okay. So take a few minutes independently.
Yeah? Okay, so if you haven't received it, I'll go back and look at the email address that I have for you. Can you just show if you did not receive the PowerPoint? Okay, perfect. What's coming around is the attendance for our time together and the book order form. So I brought back the same one, so you can just find your name or add your name to the bottom for the number of books that you need for your school. The rest of this afternoon really is less of us leading you in activities and more of you really getting into the curriculum. But we just have a guiding question. If you don't mind, I'd like to read exactly what it says, because I think it's key. It says, curriculum is brought to life by our students engaging in learning experiences that meet their academic needs. Each student who enters our classroom brings backgrounds, knowledge, learning styles, and needs for support. In planning for learning, each teacher reflects on how best to design lessons that capture the compendium of students' needs. To support your ability and expertise in creating a concept for learning,